A parable of the meaning of life. I fell asleep a few nights ago, and I dreamed a dream. I dreamed of a galaxy 6 billion light years away, and in this unnamed galaxy there was a star that shone through a poisonous atmosphere upon the planet Beoval. This light arrived at the scorching surface to bathe all things in a purple glow. It is well that the life forms on Beoval had no olfactory sense, for the poisonous ocean emitted a stink that would have driven a human mad if he lived long enough to smell it. But of course he would not have. The surface atmospheric pressure would have crushed one of our submarines instantly. And of course, as with any planet that has that sort of pressure, in a similar way as our own planet Venus, the temperature was hot enough to melt lead. No, you wouldn't live long enough to notice the stink of Beoval. Ah, I thought to myself in my dream, this must be a dead planet. However, I was wrong. There was intelligent life on Beoval. It was not a kind of life that we are familiar with. It existed in a crystalline form, and it perpetuated itself by joining 3 of its members, each one possessing the necessary components of one of their factional divisions. They had no word for sex, and the concept of gender would have left them utterly confused. They knew that there were 3 life divisions. Each one formed a faction, and a member from each faction must be present in order to join. This was so basic to their minds that they gave it no thought. The creatures were the only life on the planet, and so they had no name for themselves as such. However, they did name the factions. In the act of reproduction, a member of the Zil, the Pime, and the Sat would randomly meet, and they would join, with each factional member bearing a shape that would match with the extrusions and indentations of the others in a way that formed a perfect sphere. The history of this process went so far back into the dark days of the past that none of them could ferret out how it all started. These meetings did not appear to be planned, and I could not discern what set of conditions were necessary other than just random chance opportunity. All 3 factional member types had to be present, alone together, and they simply joined spontaneously. It seemed to give them a sense of fulfillment and inner joy. Once joined, the sphere rolled exactly 180 degrees. But then, in a manner I could not comprehend, 2 spheres rolled away 180 degrees in opposite directions and broke apart into 6 individuals. In my dream, I wanted to stop them all and discuss this fascinating process. But what I knew of them and their society, I seemed to learn only by osmosis. I simply knew it. I knew that there were now 2 adult members of each faction that existed where before there had been 1, and that the new individuals had absorbed the memory of their parent of the same faction, and these 6 would never meet to join again for the rest of their lives. I saw them move away quickly from the point of joining, as though it were distasteful or even dangerous to remain there and to talk about it. As my dreaming self contemplated this odd world, I suddenly found that I was wandering behind a member of the Zil faction, and for the life of me I could not tell one Zil from another. They were all a heterogeneous mixture of rocky crystals of various colors, and other than the shape of their joining surfaces, every member of all the factions looked just like the rest of them to my inexperienced eye. Locomotion seemed to be achieved through some form of magnetic manipulation, for the Zil moved above the metallic surface of the dark and purple planet. Soon the Zil approached a cave entrance, and I wondered if this is where the Zil worked, whatever a Zil might do for work. But I was wrong. For soon he was inside a chamber that was bathed in bright purple from an artificial source high on the ceiling. Within the chamber was a member of the Pime faction, and I wondered if he were dead. He showed no signs of vibration, and all the other individuals I had witnessed so far were in a perpetual state of apparent trembling. However, the Pime turned at the approach of the Zil and said, "Greetings, youth. What is it that you seek?" "Old one," the Zil said, "I have heard that you are the wisest of all those on Beoval, and I wish to know the meaning of our existence." "Do you believe in all that you hear?" the Pime asked. "Of course not," the Zil said. "I accept that which I can validate. There is validated truth, and there is validated falsehood, and all other things lie between these points within a wide range of validity competence." "I see," the Pime said. "You are therefore a normal individual." What confidence level do you place upon the assertion that I am wise? I would place my confidence at 86.3%. I have received no input that would indicate that you are unwise, and I have received a great many statements that assert your wisdom. I am of course not certain, but I am fairly confident. Do you, asked the old one, know why I am the oldest of our kind on Beoval? I have hopes that you have found that which I seek, and it has sustained you. Were you witness to the great impact upon Tokez last year? Asked the Pime. Of course, the Zill said. It was visible even in the daylight. A planetoid hit our fifth planet, the gas giant. The impact was quite spectacular. And, the old one said, what meaning do you find in this event? I do not understand the question, the youth said. Come back to me tomorrow, the Pime said. Spend the time from now until then contemplating the question. And once you are satisfied with the answer you attain, then extrapolate this answer to supply the answer to your original question. Come to me and tell me the meaning of existence. Something about the young Zill changed. I wasn't sure how I could know this, but the creature was suddenly in despair. Its vibrations had increased in frequency and intensity. Old one, the Zill said, why are you not dead? I am stubborn, the Pime said. You see, I refuse to accept the answer to the question, and I seek for something to refute it. But if it's the truth, the Zill was shaking dangerously now. Which do you prefer? The old one asked. The only possible meaning, the Zill said in horror, to the impact on Tokez was that the laws of physics were at work. The planetoid came within the gravity well of Tokez, and they joined catastrophically. This is not meaning, but fact. The laws of physics work. That is what it means. And, the old one prompted, there is no meaning. Suddenly the Zill's vibrations hit a resonant frequency, and the creature was blown to dust. The old Pime moved over, and through a mechanism I could not fully understand, took something like a broom and swept the dust into a glowing stream of liquid metal running out of the cave. There was now no indication that the Zill had ever been present. The old Pime glided slowly to his original spot and resumed his contemplations. Dreamer, the Pime said, you should leave. You have no place on Beoval. But then, perhaps, neither have I. Suddenly I awoke, and it took much time before I could finally fall once again into a troubled sleep. Please hit like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.